Have you ever felt like life is constantly testing you? Like no matter how hard you try, there's always something or someone standing in your way? Toxic people, frustrating situations, or even those internal struggles that seem impossible to overcome. It's like having enemies everywhere, right? Whether it's a difficult coworker, a challenging relationship, or maybe even the doubts that hold you back inside your own mind. But what if I told you the best way to defeat your enemies isn't by fighting back, but by completely transforming the way you approach them? In today's video, I'm going to share 5 powerful strategies to help you conquer your enemies without ever throwing a punch. These aren't just strategies for handling people, you'll also learn how to overcome the toughest battles inside yourself. And here's the best part. Strategy number 5, it's the game changer. It's the one that will completely shift how you handle conflict. So make sure you stick around until the end to discover it. These strategies come from some of the wisest minds in history. People who turned adversity into triumph, who faced incredible challenges and came out even stronger. Whether you're up against a toxic colleague, a difficult relationship, or those persistent fears and doubts that hold you back, these principles will give you a whole new way to approach life's obstacles. By the end of this video, you'll have a fresh toolkit to face your enemies and any challenge with confidence. But before we dive in, if you're new here, make sure to hit that subscribe button so you don't miss out on more powerful life lessons. All right, let's jump into the first strategy. 1. Master your emotions. The first step in conquering your enemies, whether they're external or internal, is mastering your emotions. And I'm not just talking about controlling your anger. I mean controlling your entire emotional state completely. No matter what's happening around you, life is unpredictable. It's full of ups and downs, challenges, and frustrating people. It's easy to let your emotions take over when things get tough. But here's the key. When you can control your emotions, you gain control over the situation. And that's where the real power lies. Think about it for a moment. How many times have you reacted impulsively to something someone said or did? You know what I mean? Someone insults you, or maybe they try to provoke you, and your first instinct is to snap back. It feels good in the moment, doesn't it? But guess what? That's exactly what your enemy wants. They want to see you lose your cool. They want you to react emotionally, because when you do, you give them power over you. But here's the twist. The real power comes from not reacting. It comes from staying calm, composed, and in control of your own mind, no matter how hard they push you. When you're emotionally reactive, you're handing over your power. You're letting your emotions control the situation instead of the other way around. But when you remain calm, you take that power back. Imagine if every time someone tried to provoke you, you stayed cool and collected. You didn't let their words or actions throw you off track. Instead, you stayed grounded. That's the first step in defeating any enemy, not by throwing punches, but by mastering yourself. Let's take the example of Nelson Mandela. Here was a man who spent 27 years in prison for standing up against an unjust system. That's nearly 3 decades of living in a tiny cell, being mistreated, and constantly facing hostility. Can you even imagine the anger and frustration he must have felt? But what makes Mandela a true hero isn't just the fact that he survived prison. It's the fact that he never let anger control him. He didn't let hatred or bitterness take root in his heart. Instead, he used that time to master his emotions. He understood that to bring real change, he had to stay calm, stay focused, and most importantly, stay in control of himself. When he was released, he didn't seek revenge. He didn't lash out at those who wronged him. Instead, he sought reconciliation, a powerful example of emotional mastery. Here's the psychology behind it. When you react emotionally, you're letting your primal brain take over, the limbic system, the part of your brain that controls feelings like anger, fear, and frustration. When you're in that emotional state, you act without thinking. But when you pause, take a breath, and let your prefrontal cortex, the part of the brain that controls logic and reason, take charge, you regain control. This is why taking a moment to breathe before reacting can completely change your response and the outcome of the situation. So, how do you master your emotions in real life? The first step is to practice mindfulness. Mindfulness isn't just some trendy buzzword. It's a scientifically proven method for reducing stress, improving focus, and most importantly, controlling your emotional responses. Simple techniques like deep breathing, taking a pause before reacting, and even journaling your thoughts can help you maintain control over your emotional state. When you feel yourself getting worked up, try this. Take a few slow, deep breaths. Focus on your breath as it enters and leaves your body. This simple act can calm your nervous system, lower your heart rate, and give you the mental clarity you need to handle any situation. Another useful technique is to pause before reacting. This doesn't mean walking away from the problem, but taking a brief moment to collect your thoughts. That pause gives you the time to choose your response wisely instead of reacting on autopilot. It's all about giving yourself space to decide how you want to show up in that moment. Here's a piece of advice for you. The next time you feel anger rising, take a step back, breathe deeply, give yourself a moment to think, and then respond with clarity. This simple practice can make a huge difference in how you handle conflict. And here's the best part. It doesn't just apply to big fights or arguments. It works in everyday situations too. Whether it's a frustrating coworker, a difficult customer, or a family member who's pushing your buttons, pausing and taking control of your emotions gives you the power to handle the situation with calm and confidence. Let me leave you with this. When you master your emotions, you gain the power to stay calm in the face of any storm. You stop letting others control how you feel, and you begin to control the situation. This is the first step in winning, without ever having to fight. So, the next time you feel yourself getting upset, take a breath, pause, and choose how you want to respond. You'll be amazed at how much power you have to turn the situation around simply by staying in control of your emotions. 2. Turn your enemy into a teacher. Now, here's where things get interesting. What if I told you that your enemies could actually be your best teachers? Think about it. Every challenge you face, every difficult person in your life has something valuable to teach you, whether it's a toxic coworker, a challenging family member, or even that inner critic who constantly doubts your abilities. These so-called enemies are pushing you to grow, adapt, and improve. The truth is, every conflict forces you to evolve. Whether you're learning patience, resilience, or finding new ways to solve problems, your adversaries push you to become a better version of yourself. Most people see enemies as obstacles, something to be defeated or avoided. But what if we changed our perspective? What if, instead of seeing conflict as something that holds us back, we viewed it as a stepping stone to personal growth? Think about it this way. Every difficult person or situation in your life can serve as a mirror. They reflect back to you areas where you can improve. Maybe it's in your communication skills, your ability to stay calm under pressure, or your emotional resilience. Whatever it is, these challenges are there to help you become stronger, smarter, and more capable. Take Steve Jobs as an example. In the 1980s, Jobs was fired from the very company he founded, Apple. That was a brutal blow to his ego and career. But instead of allowing himself to be consumed by bitterness and anger, Jobs chose to see this as an opportunity to grow. Rather than falling into despair, he started next. A new company focused on high-end computers and bought Pixar, which went on to produce some of the most successful animated films in history. When Jobs returned to Apple years later, he brought with him a wealth of experience and wisdom that he wouldn't have gained had he stayed at Apple all along. He transformed the company, revolutionized the tech world, and became one of the most visionary leaders of modern times. But here's the kicker. Jobs' enemies, the people who pushed him out of Apple, helped shape him into the leader he became. His failure actually set him up for his greatest success. Without that push, he may never have created the groundbreaking products that changed the world. This is a powerful lesson. Sometimes, the people or situations that seem like the biggest obstacles can actually teach you the most important lessons. So, how can you apply this to your own life? Think about someone in your life who might be challenging you right now. Is it a colleague who constantly undermines you? A family member who is always criticizing your choices? Or maybe an inner voice that tells you you're not good enough? Instead of seeing them as enemies, ask yourself, what can I learn from them? Is there something in their behavior that's pointing to an area where you need to improve or grow? For example, let's say you're working with a colleague who always takes credit for your ideas. It's frustrating, right? But instead of getting angry, stop and think, why does this bother me so much? Maybe it's a sign that you need to be more assertive and advocate for yourself. Or perhaps it's teaching you the importance of documenting your work and making sure your contributions are recognized. Your adversary may not even realize they're helping you grow. They may be entirely focused on their own agenda, but their actions are pushing you to step up, to learn new skills, and to handle situations with grace and confidence. You may never thank them directly for the lesson, but in reality, they're giving you exactly what you need to become stronger and more effective. Instead of seeing your enemies as obstacles, ask yourself, what is this situation trying to teach me? How can I grow from it? When you start looking for the lesson in every conflict, you'll begin to see enemies not as problems to avoid, but as opportunities to learn, adapt, and improve. Here's the key. Every conflict is a chance to grow. The people who challenge you are not just creating frustration, they are offering valuable feedback on where you need to evolve. Whether it's learning how to be more patient, more resilient, or more resourceful, they are giving you the tools to become better. Next time you find yourself in a difficult situation, take a moment to pause and reflect. What's the lesson here? Is there something in this person's behavior that you can learn from? Even if the lesson is simply how not to act, it's still a valuable takeaway. And when you start using these experiences as opportunities for growth, you'll realize that your enemies are helping you become a more powerful, wiser version of yourself. So, the next time you're facing a challenge or dealing with someone you perceive as an enemy, take a step back and ask, what can I learn from this? Every conflict holds a lesson, and by embracing that, you'll find that your enemies aren't just obstacles. They're stepping stones to becoming the person you're meant to be. 3. Use silence as your weapon. Sometimes, the most powerful response to an enemy's provocation is no response at all. Silence isn't just golden, it's a weapon. It may seem counterintuitive, especially when you're facing someone who's pushing your buttons or trying to provoke you. But the truth is, choosing silence can be one of the most effective ways to disarm an enemy. Here's why. When you choose not to react to an enemy, you take away their power over you. You completely disarm them. Think about it. When someone insults you or tries to provoke you, your first instinct is to respond, to defend yourself, or to argue back. It feels good in the moment, doesn't it? But guess what? That's exactly what your enemy wants. They want to see you lose your cool. They want you to react, because when you do, you give them power over you. But here's the twist. The real power comes from not reacting. It comes from staying calm, composed, and in control of your own mind, no matter how hard they push you. When you're emotionally reactive, you're handing over your power. You're letting your emotions control the situation, instead of the other way around. But when you remain calm, you take that power back. Imagine if every time someone tried to provoke you, you stayed cool and collected. You didn't let their words or actions throw you off track. Instead, you stayed grounded. That's the first step in defeating any enemy, not by throwing punches, but by mastering yourself. Let's consider Mahatma Gandhi, one of the most influential figures in modern history. Gandhi was faced with immense hostility and violence during India's fight for independence. He was up against the British Empire, one of the most powerful forces in the world at the time. But instead of responding with anger or force, Gandhi practiced ahimsa, the philosophy of nonviolence. His refusal to retaliate and his choice to remain silent in the face of violence and provocation became his greatest strength. Gandhi's silence was not a sign of weakness. It was a declaration of strength, resilience, and control. During the freedom struggle, Gandhi faced countless insults, attacks, and imprisonment. But he never resorted to violence. Instead, he used silence and nonviolent resistance to challenge British rule. The refusal to retaliate, his silence in the face of aggression, became a powerful symbol of defiance. And ultimately, this approach helped lead India to independence. Gandhi didn't just free a nation. He also demonstrated that true strength comes not from fighting, but from choosing peace and self-control. This is the power of silence. It's not about being passive, it's about taking control of the situation by not letting your enemy provoke you. When you choose silence, you are demonstrating that their words or actions have no power over you. It's a sign of emotional intelligence, maturity, and inner strength. Now, let's think about how you can apply this strategy in your own life. Imagine you're in a meeting at work and a colleague tries to undermine your idea or dismiss your point. Or maybe you're having a conversation with someone who's constantly trying to provoke you, picking at your vulnerabilities. Your instinct might be to argue back, to defend yourself, to prove them wrong. But what if, instead of reacting, you chose to remain calm and silent? Here's the key. Don't engage in their drama. Don't allow them to pull you into a conflict that's not worth having. By staying calm, composed, and unreactive, you send a message that their behavior doesn't affect you. You show that you are in control, and you refuse to be dragged into a pointless back and forth. Often, this approach leaves your enemy powerless. They're forced to deal with their own behavior, and it can leave them questioning themselves. Silence, when used correctly, can be a game changer in how you deal with conflict. It's not about withdrawing from the situation, but about choosing not to let someone's behavior control your response. It's about taking a step back, staying centered, and choosing peace over conflict. So, the next time someone insults you or tries to provoke you, try responding with silence. Don't feel the need to justify yourself, defend your actions, or fight back. Simply stay calm and composed. This approach not only takes away their power, but it also empowers you. It shows that you are in control of your emotions and that you can handle any situation without losing your cool. Remember, silence isn't weakness, it's strength in action. It's the ability to choose not to react emotionally, and instead respond with dignity, respect, and confidence. In many cases, silence will make your enemy uncomfortable because they don't know how to handle someone who refuses to engage in the drama, and often they'll be left wondering what just happened, why their usual tactics didn't work. Next time you're faced with an enemy trying to provoke you, take a deep breath, pause, and choose silence. You'll be amazed at how much power you gain by not reacting. By practicing silence, you not only protect your peace, but you also demonstrate to your enemies and to yourself that you don't need to fight to win. 4. Let your success be your revenge. The best revenge? Success. That's right. Achieving success and living well is the ultimate way to show your enemies that their negativity has no impact on your life. I know it can feel good to want to prove someone wrong, especially when they've doubted you, criticized you, or even tried to sabotage you. But here's the truth. The most powerful way to get back at someone who's wronged you is not by fighting back or seeking retribution. The most powerful way to respond is to succeed, and do it on your own terms. When you focus on your growth and success, your actions will speak louder than any words or retaliation ever could. People may try to hold you back, doubt your abilities, or push you down. But the best way to prove them wrong is to show them that you're living your best life, regardless of their opinions. Your success becomes the loudest, most powerful message you can send. It shows them that their attempts to undermine you didn't work, that their negativity had no effect on you. And here's the kicker. By succeeding, you don't just prove them wrong. You prove to yourself just how strong and capable you really are. Take Oprah Winfrey, for example. Oprah faced countless challenges early in her career. She was rejected from television jobs, criticized for her appearance, and even faced racism. But did she respond by fighting back or seeking revenge? Number. Instead, she channeled all that negative energy into something far more powerful. She built a media empire. Oprah didn't waste time arguing with her detractors or trying to get even with the people who doubted her. Instead, she used their negativity as fuel to build one of the most successful and influential careers in history. Oprah's success speaks for itself. Today, she's a global icon, a media mogul, and an inspiration to millions. She didn't just break barriers, she became the living proof that no one's opinion could hold her back. Oprah's success didn't just silence her critics, it gave her the ultimate revenge, a life she built on her own terms. Her success is her response to every person who ever doubted her. And that's exactly what you need to do. The next time someone doubts you, criticizes you, or tries to bring you down, don't waste energy on revenge. Focus on your goals, keep moving forward, and let your success be the ultimate comeback. There's no greater revenge than living your life in a way that shows others they were wrong about you. Think about it. Every time you achieve something, no matter how big or small, you prove to yourself that you are capable, resilient, and unstoppable. Whether it's landing a job you've always wanted, building a business, completing a challenging project, or simply becoming a better version of yourself, each step forward is a silent but powerful message to those who doubted you. They'll see you thriving, succeeding, and living your life to the fullest, and they'll have no choice but to acknowledge that their attempts to bring you down didn't work. Success doesn't require a fight. You don't need to spend time or energy trying to get even. Instead, invest that energy into your personal growth, your career, and your future. Show the world what you're made of, and let your success speak volumes. It's the best form of revenge, and it's the one that will leave your enemies speechless. Here's a key point. Don't let your energy go into negativity or trying to get back at people who doubt you. Instead, focus on what really matters: your own growth and success. Success is the most powerful tool you have to prove to the world that you're unstoppable. Your achievements will be your reply to those who tried to stand in your way. So, the next time you feel tempted to react to criticism or negativity, remind yourself of this. Focus on your goals, stay committed to your path, and let your success be the ultimate revenge. Every success, no matter how big or small, is a victory in itself. And the best part? Your success will speak louder than any words ever could. Let your life be the answer to the critics. Let your growth and success be the most powerful response to every person who doubted you. And let that success fuel you to keep going higher. 5. Keep your integrity intact. When facing an enemy, the one thing that nobody can take from you is your integrity. Your character, your values, and your sense of self. These are the things that define who you are. No matter how hard others try to break you or bring you down, they cannot strip you of your integrity unless you let them. Never compromise who you are, even if it seems like the easier path. In fact, in moments of conflict, your integrity is your greatest strength. It's easy to let external pressures shape your behavior, especially when you're faced with criticism or hostility. The temptation to fight fire with fire or lower your standards to meet someone else's negativity is strong. But that's when you need to remind yourself, your integrity is non-negotiable. Let me give you a historical example of someone who exemplified this. Abraham Lincoln. As the 16th President of the United States, Lincoln faced some of the most difficult challenges in American history, leading the country through the Civil War, facing deep divisions, and dealing with constant political pressure. Lincoln could have easily compromised his values, bowed to pressure, or taken shortcuts to win favor, but he didn't. He stood by his principles even when it was difficult. He believed in the ideals of freedom, equality, and justice, and he never wavered from those beliefs, even in the face of fierce opposition. Lincoln's integrity made him one of the most respected and revered leaders in American history. His willingness to stay true to his values, despite overwhelming pressure to compromise, earned him the trust and admiration of the nation. He didn't let the hate, division, or bitterness around him change who he was or the principles he stood for. Instead, he used his integrity to guide his decisions, and that integrity played a crucial role in the eventual success of the Union during the Civil War. One of the most important lessons we can learn from Lincoln is that integrity is the foundation of true leadership. It's not just about doing the right thing when it's easy. It's about doing the right thing when it's hard, when the stakes are high, and when you feel like everything is falling apart. Lincoln didn't compromise on his beliefs or his character, and that's why he's remembered as one of the greatest leaders in American history. Now, let's talk about how you can apply this principle in your own life. Every day you're faced with situations where your integrity is tested, whether it's a difficult conversation with a colleague, a challenging decision in your personal life, or even moments when you feel tempted to take the easy way out. Your integrity is what will guide you. The strength to face your enemies and challenges lies not in what you do, but in who you choose to be. When you stand firm in your values, you show the world that you cannot be easily swayed by external forces. You demonstrate that your character is unshakable, and that no matter what anyone throws your way, you'll remain true to yourself. This is the kind of strength that can't be taken from you. Let's say you're in a situation where someone is trying to drag you into a toxic argument, or get you to compromise your morals to win a fight. Do you respond in kind, or do you stand your ground and stay true to your beliefs? The easy path might seem like giving in or lowering your standards just to get through the situation. But the real power is in choosing to maintain your integrity, even when it's not the easiest option. Here's a piece of advice. In every difficult situation, remember this: the strength to face your enemies and challenges lies not in what you do, but in who you choose to be. Stay true to your values, no matter what. The world may try to tempt you to compromise, but When you hold on to your integrity, you show others that you are someone who cannot be bought, manipulated, or swayed by negativity. And in the long run, people will respect you more for that. No matter what challenges or enemies you may face, remember that your integrity is the one thing that no one can take away from you unless you give it up. Stay true to your values, and in doing so, you will not only conquer your enemies, but also build a life and reputation that you can be proud of. Integrity isn't just about being morally right. It's about staying true to yourself, even when the world around you seems to be falling apart. We've covered 5 powerful strategies to defeat your enemies without fighting them. We've explored mastering your emotions, turning your enemies into teachers, using silence as your weapon, letting your success be your revenge, and maintaining your integrity in the face of challenges. Each of these strategies is designed to help you not only overcome conflict, but to rise above it with wisdom, strength, and resilience. What's amazing about these strategies is that they don't require you to fight or even engage with your enemies in the traditional sense. Instead, they empower you to take control of the situation, protect your peace, and become a better, stronger person. By applying these strategies, you can transform every challenge into an opportunity for growth and face adversity with calm, confidence, and grace. Now, think about your own life for a moment. Who or what are you fighting against right now? Maybe it's a difficult person at work, a toxic relationship, or perhaps the internal battles of self-doubt, fear, or insecurities. Whatever it is, ask yourself, how can these 5 strategies help me overcome the challenges I'm facing? How can you master your emotions in tough moments? How can you learn from those who challenge you? How can you stay calm and composed instead of reacting impulsively? The true power to conquer your enemies doesn't come from fighting back. It comes from mastering yourself. It comes from choosing your response, choosing peace over conflict, and choosing to focus on your growth and success. It comes from being the kind of person who stays true to their values, no matter the situation. So, the next time you're faced with a challenge, remember these strategies. Master your emotions, learn from your enemies, use silence as your weapon, let your success speak for itself, and keep your integrity intact. When you apply these strategies, you'll realize that the real victory lies not in defeating others, but in becoming the best version of yourself. If you've found these strategies helpful, don't forget to like this video, subscribe, and hit the bell icon so you'll be notified whenever we post new life-changing lessons. By subscribing, you're not just getting more insights into how to improve your life. You'll also be joining a community of like-minded individuals who are focused on growth, success, and overcoming challenges together. I'd love to hear from you. Let me know in the comments. Which of these strategies spoke to you the most? How have you applied them in your life? Or how do you plan to use them moving forward? Your thoughts and experiences could inspire others in our community. So, don't hesitate to share. Thank you so much for watching, and remember, the true power to conquer your enemies lies within you. Keep growing, keep learning, and I'll see you in the next video. Take care.